Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. Looking forward to introducing you guys to an incredible product. Today, we're discussing the topic of accounts payable automation. Before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. The session is recorded. The speaker's contact information will be provided following the event. Feel free to ask any questions throughout this webinar, and if we're not able to get to them at the Q&A at the end, we will follow up with an answer to all questions posed. My name is Matthieu Sewell. I'm the marketing manager here at Landl Services. To start with, I'm going to just give a very brief introduction as to who Landl are. I promise I'll keep it brief, as much as my board of directors would love for me to labor over who we are and how we're amazing. I'll keep it short and to the point. We're all here to get to the demonstration really and see the power of DocuWare when it comes to automating accounts payable processes. So just a little bit about who we are. Landl was founded in 2016 by two industry leaders with over 4 decades in document management and document lifecycle technology solutions. Those two individuals are James Cunningham and Nicholas Feltham. Landl was founded on a belief, which very much became our mission statement, was to inspire growth for our customers by deploying smart technology solutions. Really, the basis for that is we want to introduce not just across photocopiers and printers, but across the full document lifecycle. And this is where document management systems provide a huge amount of advantage and benefit, and can help our customers accelerate their growth. Industry challenges. Over the last several years, the industries have seen a lot of challenges, not just us. A lot of our customers that we work with have seen these challenges, things like Brexit, COVID-19, global supply chain shortages. And in that time where many others have faltered and failed and others have struggled, mainly our competitors, we've gone from strength to strength with over 6 million turnover, over 3,000 global customers, and doubled in size in less than 2 years. Now, I just want to bring your attention to a stat. So recently there was a study done. There's 7 in 10 finance teams spend up to 10 person hours per week on manual accounts payable tasks. It's a lot of time spent, a lot of time potentially wasted. So I'd like to pose the question to everyone. We're going to just release a poll. How could you better spend your time in your business by releasing those 10 hours within your accounts team, or even yourself? What could you better do with that time? So we're just going to release that poll now, and we're going to come back to it just before the Q&A. So please put your answers, and we'll take a look at what everyone thinks. Benefits of accounts payable automation. Now, using accounts payable automation, using a tool like DocuWare, you can see a 50% reduction in processing times for finance documents, improve accuracy, reducing the risk of costly errors, and decrease in operational expenses. Today's presenter, we have joining us James Chantler. He comes with almost 2 decades of industry experience in document management and document technology. And he's going to quickly walk through, as an agenda, we're going to quickly walk through how DocuWare's award-winning solution will revolutionize accounts payable departments, demonstrate how easy DocuWare is to adopt in your organization, show real world scenarios, real case studies of organizations that have successfully implemented DocuWare and document management solutions within their accounts payable department, and expand the scope beyond the accounts payable department and look at how DocuWare becomes the Cupid for other departments and plays an important role by connecting those departments with shared access to different documents across the business. So without further ado, handing over to James Chantler. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Matt, and good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking the time out to join us. So we're going to kind of briefly explore this morning a bit more about DocuWare and how we can help in accounts payable departments. But in short, DocuWare is an electronic document management system. It is a platform that enables us to capture documents and, more importantly, the data that resides within those documents, and be able to route those documents intelligently around a business and also update other business applications and systems. So it can be a really powerful tool in any organization of any size. In terms of there we go. In terms of DocuWare themselves, DocuWare have been running just over 35 years. We have thousands of customers across the globe, and we have that on-premise and cloud-hosted solutions. It is a mature product and a market leader in document management. As part of that growth and that maturity, DocuWare has a huge number now of certifications and partnerships and technology partnerships through major technology players. So you can see a lot of those names you may come to know and have used on a regular basis, right the way from Microsoft applications to some ERP applications and financial products as well, all while then providing the other standards that businesses are required to do business in today's world, such as your ISO accreditations, GDPR compliance, and all the security constraints that might be required in storing documents and information in your organization. So what we're going to focus on with DocuWare today is really around accounts payable processes. We typically, when we're working on a day-to-day basis with a lot of organizations and their accounts payable departments, we tend to come across some of the key challenges that these departments have. And that can be those real manual time-consuming processes in terms of data entry, potentially maybe putting the information in twice, risking duplicate payments, and just spending a lot of time maybe grabbing those information and transferring it from one place to another to get that approval. And when it comes on to the approval, not every business has a clear process in terms of how they have to get these documents approved. Does it go to the right person in the first instance? Does it have to go to a second person for a second line approval? And is this now depending on people coming into the office on a regular basis to be able to access and view these documents and make the right decisions with those documents? And then everyone's favorite time of year is around the auditors. So again, it's being able to provide clear audit trails, clear evidence of the documents that have been received and processed, and ensuring that we can put your hands on those documents at any given moment when somebody requires to do that as well. So what we're going to look at today is going to be a typical accounts payable manual process. So we're talking around receiving an invoice, whether that is email, which I'd probably say these days is now the majority of how invoices are received, but we do still get an occasional piece of post as well. We're then booking it in. So we're grabbing that invoice, we may be printing it out, we may be having it on our screen, but somebody's potentially then typing that information from the invoice into an ERP or an account system. So booking that invoice in. If we have a purchase order process in place, we might be opening up a copy of the purchase order. We might be checking on a purchase order system, but again, we might be doing that manually by checking that by eye to make sure that the invoice is matching what we ordered in the first instance. And more importantly, the prices are the same as what was agreed. Then we start moving the document around an organization. Now, this invoice approval may be a physical piece of paper sat on somebody's desk. It may be an email with an attachment sent to one or several people. And then we're going to be waiting for somebody to respond to that with an action of whether they approve it, reject it, or may even have a query on that invoice, but don't necessarily have access to the information they need to access. But once we've got that approval, we're then back into our ERP or our account system to update that invoice to say, yeah, we're happy that everything is as it should be, and we're now ready to pay that invoice. Now, I'd say there are obviously lots of different organizations, different businesses. We've got different kind of processes in place, but fundamentally, these are the key processes that we see time and again that create a lot of manual process and a lot of bottlenecks in an organization. And that is kind of what we would like to do in terms of being able to help on that. And of course, we want to be able to store those invoices securely as well. I missed that step out then. So let's go through this and what this might look like in an electronic format using DocuWare as an electronic document management system where we can quickly and easily route these documents around the business. So I'm just bringing up my DocuWare screen. So as I've mentioned, DocuWare is an electronic document management system. We do have two versions, but what we're looking at today right now is our cloud system. Our cloud system has been going for 12 years and is a very mature product with a significant amount of recent resource and development continued to be put into this system as well. Accessing our system couldn't be simpler. All we need is an internet connection and a web browser if we're on a PC or a laptop. And we also have apps for iOS and Android as well. So if we're on the go, we can still access our system and our documents using a smartphone or a tablet as well. So on screen right now is the DocuWare user interface. On the left-hand side is the user interface. The right-hand side is what we call our document viewer. That document viewer is a really good tool because what we can do is get quick visibility of all of these documents and different document types, whether we're on a PC or a laptop or a smartphone, we can quickly and easily view those documents. Now we've got a few options on the left-hand side I'm going to run through with you. And I'm going to actually go from kind of right, then maybe to the left, because what I'm going to start with in our system is not only we've got the ability to capture and store documents, but we've also got the ability to create and publish online web forms. Now, the reason I'm starting here is because one such example is we do have the ability to create forms such as purchase order forms. So if we're an organization, for example, that maybe has a bit of an ad hoc purchase order process, or what we've helped with other customers, you may have a purchase order platform for particular goods that you provide to your customers, but not necessarily for any other overheads within the organization. It's a great opportunity to be able to capture that information within the system and have an approval process in there as well. So as you can see, mine's a very basic purchase order format, and I should add everything I'm showing you in this demonstration can be completely customized, all the information we're capturing and so on. But in this example, we could just say for a purchase order form, our reason for the request, and it might just be an ad hoc order. But we can also customize the form to prompt for additional information should we require it. So instead of an ad hoc order, maybe this is for a project I've been working on. And when I choose this option, it's now going to prompt me for that project and the code and the project name. Now, I've just got the project code, and as soon as I choose the project code, it can then update me with the project name. I can then maybe say, I'm going to force this down a list of we only are able to order from approved suppliers. So I could say I can only order from US Steel. Now I could put lots of different items in there and it will start doing the calculations for me. I'm going to put quantity of 2 just to prove the calculations do work. And we can see the total order amount is being built up. In this example, I could hit submit. Our purchase order form, first of all, is centrally stored and managed within our system, but we can then go through an approval process if required as well. So for example, if this now needs approval, it could then go to a line manager, or because I've chosen project work, it could go to the project manager of this specific project. We could also put levels of authority. So for example, this is only £50. So maybe I don't need approval because my approval limit's 100. So anything under 100 will automatically be approved from a purchase order perspective. All of these rules are entirely customizable. I always say, imagine a flow chart sitting behind our system, and what that flow chart looks like is entirely up to you. So one example is using forms we can capture our purchase orders. Now, in my system, I've done just that. I've prepared a couple of purchase orders in advance. So I've ordered some steel girders from US Steel, and I've ordered various drinks from WB Mason. So I've placed those orders, we've received those goods, and now our invoices have been sent to us for payment. Capturing documents, we have a variety of ways we can capture documents. So what we have open right now is our document tray. This is potentially like an old physical in tray. And capturing those documents into this in tray, we can monitor a designated email address. We have an Outlook add-on, so we can natively save and send documents from Outlook. We can scan to our system. We can monitor a folder on our network. We can drag and drop into our system, and we can print to our system. And the last one, I believe, would be we can take pictures on our mobile devices and upload them to the system as well. So we can capture all of this information, all these documents from a variety of sources, bring them into here ready for processing. Now I have a document tray open right now called Invoices, and I've got 3 invoices that I've received into my system. Now you may notice we have some color coding on our invoices. We've got one marked red, one marked amber, one marked green. And this traffic light system is our feature called intelligent indexing. So rather than somebody sitting there manually keying out all of this information, DocuWare is going to learn the layout of those invoices and those documents and start automatically extracting the information we've taught it to extract. Now, this is not only helping improve accuracy, but it's also speeding the process up and removing the need for people to sit there and manually type all of this information in. So when we first have this system set up, we'll typically see a lot of documents marked as red. And essentially the traffic light system is telling us how confident it is it's found the information it needs to find. Typically 3 to 4 documents from the same supplier, if we're talking invoices, we would expect our system to step through a red to an amber to a green process. It is that quick in learning and extracting the information. And obviously, the more it sees, the more accurate it becomes. And if things move around the page, we can capture that information as well. Now, I've just mentioned we teach the system. So the beauty of intelligent indexing is it's something a user can do. A user can teach the system. We don't have to worry about maybe older systems in terms of we have to sit there and template everything. And if a supplier changes, we've got to get on the phone to somebody and get professional services in. No, this is entirely a user task where all we need is the user to be able to read the invoice and use the mouse on their computer to teach the system. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to clear out a couple of little bits of information. I'm going to get rid of our supplier name, invoice date, and invoice number. Now, if DocuWare had not seen an invoice from US Steel before, we'd just have to teach it by dragging over where the information is on the page on the right-hand side. So supplier name right now is blank. So I'm going to drag over US Steel. And as I let go with my mouse, you can see it populates on the left-hand side. I'm going to do the same with our invoice date. I'm going to do the same with invoice number. You can see how quickly and easily we are capturing this information. We can even go down to line item information as well. So we can grab all of this item number description and unit prices and so on if required as well. As I keep mentioning, it's entirely customizable. So for example, if you are an organization which may have several legal entities, each with a different set of accounts, we can capture all of those in a single system also. And at that point, what we can do is maybe in addition to supply name, we grab your company names as well. So we can then post them to the right accounts at the end of the process. So when I hit store, a few things are going to happen with this system, the way I've configured it. First of all, it's going to update and say, I know now where to look for all the information from an invoice from US Steel. But what we're also going to do is a couple of things. Now, I mentioned that we did have our purchase orders for US Steel and WB Mason. We're going to do a quick PO check and make sure we're happy that our order number matches and the amounts match. I've also put an extra rule in there. If an invoice is above a certain amount, and I believe in my system it was £1,000. If it's above 1,000, it's going to ask for somebody to approve it. And if it's below 1,000, we're not going to ask for that approval. We're going to automatically approve it, ready for export into our finance system. So as soon as I hit store, that's it. That document is now stored in our system and is going to be accessible to those people with the relevant access rights to access it. I'm also going to store our WB Mason, and you can now see things are starting to happen on our system as well. I'm going to store that document in there as well. But I'm also going to give us that real life example of we've all got suppliers that like to email about 8 or 9 people in an organization with the same invoice, hoping one of those are going to stick. So we're going to store another copy of an invoice, so a duplicate copy into our system as well. And interestingly, we can see our amber to green has just come through from WB Mason. So it now is happy it's finding all the information it needs to find. Now I'm going to hit store. So I've put 3 documents in there. It's taken me all of a few seconds. They're now securely stored and they're going to be fully auditable. And we've also got processes now starting to happen behind the scenes. So what's going to happen now is we're going to go to our tasks list. And I've got 2 tasks that have appeared on mine. One is approve invoice, and one is we found a duplicate invoice. Now I'm in my tasks, but just as easily as part of this notification process, I could receive an email with a link to these tasks, and I could tap on that link and it would take me straight to the page with the document and what action I need to take with it. We can also automate these types of things. So for example, the approval of this invoice could be automatically assigned to the person who raised the purchase order. And then once they've approved it, if it's above a certain amount, then it goes on to the next level of approval. So again, we can tailor things around that as well. But first of all, let's have a look at this. So this is our US Steel invoice that we had open. Now, while I've got the viewer open, I'm looking at this invoice. You can see we've got lots of tools in this kind of central area. And this is our ability to maybe print copies of the document, download copies. And if we don't want those abilities or users to have those functions, we can disable them just as easily as well. Another useful tool is annotations. This is our ability to put comments on our documents and maybe highlights, but not change the original. So think of these as a layer on the top of the document. And if I wish, for example, I wish to print a copy of this document out, I can do that with or without those annotations as well. So a really useful tool if you want those internal comments. You don't necessarily want to have the ability to share them externally. We can switch them on or off. But as part of this process, we've got in the bottom left corner, we've got our invoice open. It's asking us to approve the invoice, and I've given ourselves 3 options here. I can approve the invoice with some comments. I could maybe query the invoice to say, actually, something doesn't look right, and set myself a reminder date to say, right, this still needs to be dealt with. I could cancel the invoice for whatever reason that may be and put a reason in there as well. So we could have it where we could reassign it or whatever other actions. But again, this is just a way I tailored my demonstration. And I can just put, yeah, it's all okay. Let's confirm. So that invoice has now been approved. We could have that if we want any validation, if we want any additional coding. This could go to another person, another part of the process, or we could just as easily grab that invoice information, all that line item information, and we could export all of that data out to our finance system. Our other option here now we can see is our duplicate invoice found. So we've got a duplicate of our WB Mason invoice. We can cancel the duplicate, or maybe actually there is a reason why we've got 2 invoices with the same invoice number from the same supplier. Then we can maybe release that so that can carry on with its approval. But in mine, I'm going to cancel. I'm just going to put duplicate in there. My tasks are now completed. Now I've mentioned the documents are securely stored and fully searchable. So what if we want to understand what's going on with those documents, or let's have a look at the documents that we've just approved? We have a couple of options in terms of finding the information. One is we can search based on any of the information we've extracted. So I could say, actually, show me invoices, and they were going to be for WB Mason, and I can hit search. Straight away, we can see our 2 invoices. But also, we can see that this was cancelled as a duplicate. We also have this information captured as part of our document status, where one was auto-approved as it matched against the purchase order and was under our £1,000 threshold, and the other was cancelled because it was a duplicate invoice. So we see we can start using and capturing information and having full visibility of anything that is happening at any moment in time. The other thing we can do with searches, yes, we can build them up. I could say WB Mason between a date range above a certain amount and chop and change and have an amazing search, really honing down into a particular invoice. The other option is we can search any piece of text in that document as well. So for the US Steel, I know it was a 2-meter steel girder on the invoice, and that's the only bit of information I know. I can hit search and it's finding our document straight away and highlighting it where it's found that information as well. Again, we know that this invoice has been approved, but we know that this was above the threshold. So maybe the auditor wants a little bit more information in terms of who's approved this document. With that in mind, all documents stored within DocuWare have a full document history. So we can see 2 levels of this. One is who stored the document at any moment, who has viewed the document. Now I know a lot of businesses who love this feature because it removes that excuse of somebody saying they've never seen that document and that's why they haven't approved it, because it is all captured in here. But also then from an auditor's point of view, we can see that it was assigned to myself and I've approved it with a comment of all okay. We could capture every single step of a process if there was lots of steps in that process of who's doing what and when they're capturing it, and it would all be within this document for every document stored in the system. The final couple of things I've not touched on within our system here right now before I kind of close our demonstration today is a really useful thing, particularly in the accounts payable department, are lists. So lists can give us information in real time of outstanding actions. So we can see there's 2 documents in my system here, say action required. And we can see these are actually a couple of invoices that still require approval. So we could have these types of things. We might have invoices awaiting approval in query, due to be paid or need to be approved within the next 7 days. We can really tailor those lists to start showing valuable information and full visibility of what's happening in an organization at any time. And the other option is the ability to show documents within a folder view. So this is where we can start browsing documents, and rather than using the search functionality, we will show it as folders. So for those people that are a lot more comfortable using a Windows Explorer type of view, we can also show our documents in that sense as well. So that's kind of just a snapshot of the types of things we can do with DocuWare. I hope you found this demonstration useful. If there's anything you're not sure on or any questions you have, obviously, please drop them in to the chat straight away and we'll look to answer those today, or if not, we can follow up as well. But to summarize, we've essentially gone through that manual process. Obviously, I've done a lot of talking around that manual process, but what we've done is we've captured those invoices, we've received those invoices by email, and we've scanned paper copies in maybe. So we've done that automatically. We were talking about the keying out into the ERP or the finance system. We've automatically read the information using intelligent indexing. We checked against the PO. Now, in my example, the purchase order was in DocuWare, but there is nothing stopping that purchase order being in another system and us integrating with that system and checking and validating that information as well. The invoice approval, so typically maybe sending an email or leaving it on somebody's desk, we can automate that approval process so we can send notifications to people asking them to approve documents. What I should add on that as well is if people ignore those requests, we can send reminders, and we can even escalate in our system as well to ensure things are dealt with in a timely manner. And of course, once we've captured all the information and we've got that document to a status where we're happy to pay it, we're going to update the ERP system or the finance system with that information for payment. Now, the final piece in the traditional process is the invoice is then maybe filed away, but our invoices are stored right at the very beginning, so we have full visibility at every moment in the process. So looking back at some of those challenges, I'd like to think DocuWare and its features and its functionality really helps in each of these areas in terms of capturing the information automatically, reducing clerical errors and time-consuming processes. It can be intelligent enough to automatically notify the right people at the right time of actions that they might need to take. And because of our cloud-based solution, we can do that from any location, whether it's on a PC or a mobile. And everything in terms of security, compliance, and audit trails is taken care of automatically with DocuWare as well. So I know we're focused on accounts payable today, but I did mention right at the beginning, DocuWare is a platform. So not only can it help in accounts payable, it can help in lots of other departmental areas and processes. So as you can see, we're helping with accounts or HR with onboarding and sales documentation, contract management, all of these different areas where they have documents with important information and crucial processes. DocuWare can help in those areas too. We have lots of customers out there doing that right now. I would love to have those conversations to see if we can help you become one of those people too. And to give you an idea of the types of customers and kind of businesses that are using it, you can see it's being used worldwide. And there's a huge amount of variety, and you can see probably a lot of brand names you may understand. But what I should add is it doesn't matter about the size of the organization. We're helping sole traders up to multinationals. The beauty of our scalable solution means it is accessible to all different sizes of businesses, and they all get the same access to the same features and functionality that we can provide. So that is everything from me. I'm going to now say thank you very much. I'll pass back over to Matthieu.
Thank you, James. Appreciate that. Very brief but detailed demonstration. Something I haven't noticed before, I picked up on, and there was the that document activity list, where you're able to see who's viewed and accessed certain documents. That's a fantastic feature. I can't say how annoying it is when you send a document out to someone and a couple of days later you chase up and they come back and say they haven't seen it. So it's great that you have the ability with this system to do that. I just want to quickly bring everyone back to a statistic that we looked at the beginning, which was up to 10 hour person per week hours are spent on manual processes. And there you can see the manual tasks that James Chantler has gone through. There's a list of the tasks, the items that are kind of in a typical process. Obviously, those processes can vary depending on the type of business you have and how your processes work, but a general process. In comparison to implementing something like DocuWare, where it's able to automatically go through those processes, through those stages, send out approvals, and realistically could save up to 10 hours per week per person. And I just want to come back to the poll that we put out. It was quite interesting as James was going through the demonstration, looking at the answers. I'm somewhat not surprised, but when we look at the true cost of AP processes, what we're looking at is time. Realistically, it's the time spent, and realistically, it's not just the time spent, but the actual opportunity loss. It's where we could better invest that time in our business, redeploying those resources that the accounts team and other departments are able to do more and get more done. And the top answer, 81% of attendees that answered said tackling the endless list of things I have to do. And I think I can relate to that. I think we all have just a continuous amount of tasks being added, and it's continually growing. And having a solution that's able to automatically process, automatically do things is invaluable to a lot of businesses, because you can now start to get the things done that management are going, has this been done? Has this not? So yeah, the reality is, coming back around to this, automating it can massively reduce the amount of time in your organization. And as James Chantler alluded to, not just within the accounts payable department, but in other departments too. So if we just go through to the Q&A now, we've had a few questions come through. So James, if you're happy to answer a few of these questions, if we're not able to get through to everyone's questions, we will loop back round. I should also mention, just before we go to the Q&A, that now that you've seen the demonstration, you've learned a little bit more about this, we will be reaching out to everyone that's attended individually and offering you an opportunity for a one-to-one demonstration so that you can better understand how this product might be able to help your business, help your department, help you save time. So the first question we've got, James, is how does DocuWare integrate with Xero?
Yes, Xero with an X, and many other finance systems as well. So yes, DocuWare is really strong. We didn't really make a song and dance about it in our presentation. We have just won in Document Manager Awards, Accounts Payable Solution of the Year. And part of that award is because we are so flexible in all the different finance systems we can work with.
Yeah, we definitely didn't make a big enough deal about that. That was one in November 23, was it? I think it was.
Yeah, just before Christmas, so an early Christmas present for a nice award.
Yeah, I don't think DocuWare's made a big enough song and dance about that. It's quite impressive. Another question we've got is, what is the cost for DocuWare? It's a good question.
So the cost of DocuWare does vary. Obviously depends on the use case and the amount of people maybe accessing the system. What I would say is we would always be looking to kind of make a return on investment within 6 to 9 months of any system that we provide. So we would look and work with you and understand your processes and really look at maximizing the benefits of the investment.
Okay, very good. How would DocuWare link to a third-party PO system? Or PO systems?
Yeah, totally understand. So yeah, we have lots of different ways we can link with systems, and that is again a real good benefit of DocuWare. So we are able to go from being able to just look at databases and tables in databases. We could do API integrations. We can do webhooks, and we've got lots of everything in between as well. So integration platform as a service. So really depending on the system, there's normally more ways to be able to integrate with a single system, but we look at the most efficient and effective way to maximize, again, the systems and how they can work together.
So a lot of flexibility with DocuWare.
Yes. So to give you an example, it might not necessarily be POs. There are people that might be wanting to look at goods receipted or goods received. So we can integrate in those kind of platforms. So we can also essentially do the three-way match. So we can actually look at a purchase order, the goods received, and we can maybe even update those systems as well as obviously checking, making sure that the invoice that we've received is valid and correct as well.
Very cool. Brilliant. Thank you. Is it possible to export information in an Excel format within DocuWare?
Yeah, so all the information, so for example, where we saw the lists, the search results, we can export that information as an Excel format. We can also do other data exports in whatever format you want, and we can even schedule those. So for example, if you wanted to have a monthly report of all the invoices that were paid that month, we'd be able to set that up as a regular export, for example.
Very good. Brilliant. There was, I guess, another question, somewhat lapse with the second question I asked, but I think it's probably worth asking, maybe to summarize. What are the annual costs associated with DocuWare? Monthly AP invoicing volumes, 300 to 400? Is it based on invoices, or how does roughly the pricing tend to be structured? Is it based on users?
So DocuWare is based on number of users and amount of document storage. It is not about how many documents we're processing, which is a really good benefit, particularly on AP, when I know there are other products which may give you a monthly quota or an annual quota, or they might actually say how many pages. We're not restricting in any sense in that way. All those features and functions I've shown you are fully available, unrestricted, other than the only two caveats are amount of people accessing the system and the amount of document storage.
Very good. Thank you. And I guess finally, as we just wrap up here, do you automate conversion of currencies?
Yes, we can. And we can do that in a couple of ways. So we can manage as many currencies as you want. We can have an exchange rate stored within DocuWare, or if you want to have the DocuWare look at another system, we could do that as well. Entirely up to you. Yeah, we've worked in both ways, where we've either posted in the native currency of the invoice, or we've converted to pounds or another currency and posted in that sense as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time, James, and going through those answering all those questions. I've learned a few things that I didn't know prior, so that's good. I hope the audience did too. As I stated earlier, we will be reaching out to everyone that attended individually. Would like to engage with you, would like to, I guess, learn a little bit more about how DocuWare can help your business. So keep a lookout for those communications. And if you feel you would like to have a one-to-one demonstration, feel free to reach out to us obviously when we send those requests through. And thank you very much for everyone for attending today's event. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Thank you, James. Appreciate your time.
No problem. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, everyone.